Jokes. Every day at the beginning of math club, Mr. Clifton told us a new joke. He'd wait until we were all in our seats, and then he'd raise his white eyebrows and smile just a little bit and say the first part of the joke. "Why are math books always so sad?" That was the one from Thursday. I didn't know the answer, but no one else did either, so I didn't feel bad. Pretty much no one ever knew the answer. You could always tell when Mr. Clifton was about to say the punchline because he'd clear his throat and look like he was about to say something super serious. "Because," he said, his head tilted low so that he was looking at us all from over the tops of his glasses, "they have so many problems." That one made us all laugh. Well, all except Savannah. She hardly laughed at any of the jokes. Only the really, really funny ones. I laughed at almost all of them. When Mr. Clifton saw that we liked that joke pretty well, he nodded, very serious, and went behind his desk to write something in his notebook. "Use again next year," he mumbled to himself as he wrote. The only thing I didn't like about Mr. Clifton's jokes was that they were always about math. 10 words. I studied for the spelling test every Thursday. Callista helped me every single Thursday. We went over all the words. Callista even made flashcards sometimes with pictures on them so I would remember the words and the way to spell them. Growth. Growth. That flashcard had a flower on it. For grow, spelled the normal way, like a flower grows. And then after that, there was a boy smiling with all of his teeth for the th sound that comes at the end of teeth. So how come I could remember that when I was doing flashcards with Callista, but when it came to the test on Friday, I wrote Groth because I forgot how to spell grow like a flower because I got nervous? Anyway, sometimes O makes the owl sound even when the W's not there, like in note. There's no W in note. There are 10 words on the test every Friday. 10 words. No matter how hard I study on Thursday, I never get more than 4 of them right. Some bug. Darren Ackelman brought in a bug for Science Friday. It was a dead bug. A beetle, he said, even though it sort of looked like a cockroach. It was the biggest bug I'd ever seen, bigger than 2 giant pink erasers stuck together. It was trapped in a small clear box, and it was black with yellow splotches. Its head was crazy. It looked like it had horns, real horns, sticking right out of the top. Lila screamed when Darren held it up, and Josie made fake barfing sounds, and Hillary and 2 other girls pretended like they were fainting, but all the boys thought it was really cool. Some of them even got out of their desk and rushed to the front of the room to see the bug closer. It got so loud in the classroom that Mrs. Rouse had to say, "Now, now, boys and girls," in her very stern, loud voice, and flash the lights on and off. But even then, it was hard to settle down. After a minute, the teacher from the classroom next door, Mr. Harrison, poked his head inside and said, "Everything okay in here? Sounds like a stampede of yaks." And Mrs. Rouse shook her head and said, real tired, "Nope, only a dead bug." At that point, Mr. Harrison said, "That must be some bug," and after he saw it, he asked Mrs. Rouse if he could bring his 6th graders in from next door to look at it because he thought they'd really love it too. So then all the 6th graders came into the room and filed past Darren Ackelman at the front and screamed and hooted and shouted about the bug until Mrs. Rouse made them sit down in the aisles between our desks so Darren could finish his Science Friday. Darren stood up at the front grinning like it was his birthday or something while he explained all about the bug, how his dad bought it from a shop that sells bugs and skulls and all sorts of weird stuff that made the girls all shriek again, and how it was real expensive, and how his dad said he trusted Darren to take it to school for Science Friday because he knew Darren was always really careful. I did not want to like the bug. I did not want to like the bug because I didn't like Darren. But it was so cool with its horns and everything, and I really wanted to count the yellow spots on its back. So when Mrs. Rouse said if we could all stay calm and remain in our seats, then Darren could come through the aisles and let us look at the bug more closely, I decided I would take a turn looking. I decided I could like the bug and not like Darren. Betsy liked the bug too, I could tell. She leaned forward in her seat beside me, trying to see better, and when Darren squeezed through her aisle, she peered down to look at it. "Out of the way, Betsy," Darren hissed as he stepped over a sixth grader's legs. I heard him. "I'm trying to get through." And she didn't get to see the bug at all. I got to see the bug a pretty long time because the sixth grader who was sitting in the aisle next to me grabbed the case right out of Darren's hands and stared at it for a while, and probably because the kid was so big, Darren didn't tell him to give it back, so I got to see right over the big kid's shoulder. It was a cool bug. 7, I told Betsy when we were on our way to lunch. We were walking through the hallways at the back of the lunch line, like usual. "7, what?" Betsy asked. "That's how many yellow dots there were on the bug's back," I told her. "I counted. I thought you might be wondering." Betsy didn't say anything about that. Betsy didn't usually say much of anything, so I was used to it. But she smiled at me, so I could tell she was happy about the spots, and at lunch she gave me 3 red gummy bears. "Did you know there's a kind of cockroach that hisses?" I told Betsy while we ate. Some girls would be grossed out talking about bugs during lunch, but not Betsy. I could tell she thought it was cool because her eyebrows went up on her face as soon as I said that about the hissing. "I saw it on TV, I told her. "Whenever you touch one spot on their back, they hiss real loud, just like this." And I made a hissing noise just like the cockroach I saw on TV, right through my teeth, and Betsy giggled, so I hissed louder. Then she poked me in the back like I was a cockroach, and I hissed. Every time she poked me, I hissed, and soon we were both laughing so hard we were almost crying, and I could barely get the hisses out. Betsy snorted and slapped her hand over her mouth, embarrassed, but that just made us laugh harder. "What are you 2 retards doing over there?" Darren said all of a sudden, and just like that, me and Betsy stopped laughing. That's when we realized that everybody was staring at us. Everybody. "What are you looking at, dummy?" Darren asked me. He said it real mean, like I was the one who'd done something to him, even though he was the one who called me and Betsy bad names. I looked down at my lunch. Next to me, I could tell Betsy was breathing really hard, like she did when she was trying not to cry. After Darren and his friends left the lunch table to go outside, and our side of the table was mostly empty, Betsy nudged me with her elbow. "Yeah?" I said. Then Betsy talked real soft, so only I could hear her. "If Darren was a bug," she said slowly, "I'd step on him." A smile stretched across my face. I liked that idea a lot. "Yeah," I told her, "me too." And after that day at lunch, every time Darren said something mean or looked at us funny or cut in front of one of us in line, me and Betsy would turn to each other and real quiet so no one else could hear, we'd make a little hiss. And I wasn't sure about Betsy, but that always made me feel just a little bit better, like I was squashing Darren Ackelman in my head, even if I couldn't squash him in real life.